Welcome to Cold Ones. If you're not familiar with what Cold Ones is a 5-minute cold plunge into the post-plunge warm-up where we get to know our guest. On the note of the guest, today's guest will be Paul McLeish. When you come.
Oh.
How are you feeling today, mate?
Excellent. It's a lovely, warm day.
Oh. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
I release music under the name Stoveheid.
That's good, mate. That's good. And that's what we're going to talk about a lot more when we get into the post-plunge warm-up. But for now, are you ready to get into this ice bath?
As ready as I'll ever be.
You'll be fine. It's not as bad as you think. It's not as bad as you think. The minute you're ready.
Very good.
Just breathe, catch your breath. Relax. You'll be fine. Just breathe. It's a shocking start. It always is. But once you're in, you're good. It'll get easier as well. Your body will still be regulating the cold, but in about 30 seconds you'll probably be completely fine. You'll be breathing fine. So I'm gonna just run it up a little bit until you've got your breath fully, because I don't want to start asking you questions. You're tripping over yourself. Oh man. Aye, so releases singles. It's gonna be quite exciting to hear what you've got to come. You know what I mean? I'm excited to hear it. You know what I mean? It's good difference from what I know you from before with our common job that we're working in. So yeah. It's gonna be an exciting journey for you, and I'll be there to support it.
Definitely is, and it's a lot less painful than this.
Well, it'll all be worth it, mate. You'll reap the rewards once you get out of this ice bath. So we'll start with the question now that you've kind of got yourself back on your feet. So today's question is going to be, why do you think so many people struggle to take that first leap in releasing a single, maybe a video onto social media, or just maybe, I don't know, take a financial leap that could put them into turmoil? Why do you think people struggle so hard?
I think it takes a lot of motivation and understanding how to do it. Like, I think knowing the first step and like having the courage to take that first step is definitely the biggest stumbling block. I think with anything, like knowing the first thing to do is the most difficult part, and then having the motivation and consistently to work on it, and that's probably the biggest hurdle for at least taking the first step and doing things. At least that's definitely like my experience. Oh my god, that's cold. That's definitely my experience of it. Yeah.
So I think I've asked this question before to this folk, and it's usually there's a common denominator for this question, and it's usually that people are too embarrassed as well from what they have like socially around them, like the people that surround them. They're too scared of what they've got to say. It's like it's a whole weird situation where it's just you care too much about what people have to say about you. And I understand what you're saying as well. That makes sense, because most people overthink their first thing that they're pushing out. They want it to be perfect because they're scared in case it's not perfect. And it is about what you know, and it's about getting it right, because if you don't get it right over and over and over and over and over again, eventually you are going to realize that people aren't going to follow that because they're just you are making a bit of a fool of yourself. But I think you're right. It takes a courageous, outgoing person, even if it is just music and you're not doing it live or you're not like showing yourself off. Music, folk have so much judgment against stuff like that.
Yeah. But then, I mean, at least the experience I've had, like tiny bit of experience, like it's been like a week, not even a week. It's been like 4 days that I've had my stuff out there, and I've only received either extremely positive or like constructive comments.
Yeah.
And there's not been any hate. And I think that's probably the biggest hurdle is once you've had the first thing, you realise, oh, it's not too bad, and you can just go on with it.
Yeah.
I assume that you first posting stuff like this, you had a lot of like trepidation, like how are people going to react? Are people going to be like, what are you doing? Why are you like posting things? But like, it is what it is. Sometimes you just have to do what you have to do.
And I mean, once you do it, you feel great for it as well. And you know, once you've got that kind of power in you to then do it, you're then ready to go again. And that's the great thing about it.
Yeah.
That's why I love posting on social media. Like, I don't like social media because I feel like it wastes so much people's times nowadays. And if there's nothing really constructive or really good coming from what you're watching, wasted time. But if you've got things that are motivational, they're giving people reasons to kind of push on, you're helping people out, you're doing music that's benefiting people behind like closed doors and stuff, great. Honestly, I'm so there for it. But social media as a whole is just, it's a weird place. You know what I mean?
I think it's like anything. I think social media is just a vessel for either the worst in people or the best in people.
Yeah.
Like, and I think you have to tailor what you view on social media to what you want to see. If you want to see horrible things, you will see horrible things.
Yeah.
But if you only want to see the best, you will.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Well, that was a quick 5 minutes.
It was a quick. I think the first minute and a half was me going, but yeah, I think it's fine.
See, and I told you, you'd be fine. So what we're gonna do is we'll jump over to the post plunge warm up, but first we'll go under the water. So that is us into the post plunge warm up. How was the ice plunge for you?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, the first minute was a bit breathless, but that was fine. It was good. Aye.
It's always a good experience. I always repeat myself every single time I do this, but it is a good experience. And I think once you get in there, and especially having someone else there with you trying to kind of kill you down a little bit, because I'm not saying anything, but I think you would have been one of the ones to get out of that maybe if you weren't. Well, maybe not to get out of it, but you were definitely considering it. I could see in your face.
There's a point maybe like 5 seconds in where I was like, but
No, you done it.
we
And
continue.
you did, and that's the important thing. It's pushing past that point of no return, and I like that. That's the best part about Cold Ones. You get to see how tough people really are, and you done well. You did do well. Yeah. So there has been a couple of people that have almost stood up as well, and I've been like, no, you need to sit down. You need to just get on with it.
It's the whole reason you're here.
Exactly. But yeah. So in our post plunge warm up, we usually just let the guests kind of talk about their past, maybe just talk about the last year that they've had. Just give us a little bit of insight into them so that we can get to know them a bit better. So for me, I already know Paul from our past, but for you guys, you might not know him at all. So that's the beauty of Cold Ones. We give them an opportunity to talk, get to know them, and then we talk about actually in-depth things that they came to speak about. So, how's your last year been then, Paul?
My last year has been great, actually. I feel like when people have those lists, like those like bucket lists or like things that they want and they need to get done, like a lot of people don't end up doing a lot of them. But I feel like last year I've been ticking check boxes like nothing else. Like kind of smaller things. Like I mean, I turned 30, which is I didn't have to do much. I really just had to survive, which I managed. And like I mean, I learned how to drive just before 30 years old, which well, at least I'm making progress.
I was gonna say it's a little bit late on, but you know what? At least you're getting there, and that's what matters.
Yeah. You know? I'm better than last year, not better than everybody else. And then I'm releasing music, which is something that I've wanted to do for quite a few years. Like I studied music. I've got a degree in music, but that was like 10 years ago. Well, maybe not 10 years ago. It was like 7 years ago that I graduated, and I've always like looked at all of my other classmates released and stuff, and I thought, I want to do that. That's something I want to do. So yeah, like I've managed to do that, and I don't know. I really don't know what's next on my checklist.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna have to like check my notes, see what things that I want to be able to do. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people have things that they want to do and they're just scared to do them, or like they're like, oh, I never have the time. But I'm trying my best to work my way through my own checklist.
Good, and I suppose that's the way it should be. You need to just kind of push yourself through your own development.
Absolutely, like we were saying as I was struggling to survive. I might not manage 31 if I keep on doing.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say, man.
Taking the first step is like, I suppose writing the checklist is the first step. Like, but then actually daily doing stuff that puts you closer towards.
Taking the actions to actually get there. Absolutely. Absolutely, and that's definitely the hardest part about stuff like that. It's taking the action to do it, because sometimes you can get lost in yourself, maybe getting a bit, you can get lazy a little bit. It's easier not to do things that make you uncomfortable and make you kind of have development. So some people just can't.
Yeah.
Sometimes do it.
And life has a lot of things in it that you can really easily get distracted by. Whether it just be, oh, I'm working so many hours, I've got like so many other like family commitments, or even I want to watch that new episode, or maybe 30 new episodes. Like, it's really easy to find something else to do that isn't something that you've always wanted.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely. Yeah, no, that's like a wee quote. There you go, Paul McLeish quote there. It is very easy to get lost. It is very easy to get lost. The path's not always as clear as you actually think it is, because there is so many other things that it's all about dopamine in that head of yours. Whatever gives you more dopamine, it makes it easier for you to do it.
Absolutely. I read something. I probably didn't read something. I probably heard it on TikTok and it sounds much better than I read it. That was the things that are addictive are not fully they don't satisfy you fully.
Yeah.
So like watching a TikTok video doesn't satisfy you fully. Eating one Pringle doesn't satisfy you fully. So you always go back for more. So it was really trying to fight against the things that are giving you a wee bit of satisfaction at that moment, and focus on the things that don't give you instant gratification but will in the long term. And that's the battle that we're all fighting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't scroll away. I'm watching
you. Like and follow.
Absolutely, do it.
Nah, but so I actually think we should move on to your big thing, because I think talking about your music and stuff is going to be great. And I've got actually a lot of questions, because I started listening to your single that you had posted, obviously, and that. I was like baffled by the type of music it was, because I didn't actually know the genre. So tell me about the genre. Show me what it is.
The genre is that's a difficult question.
That's what I was thinking when I was listening to it.
I mean, I think firstly and foremost, it's pop.
Right.
I think every style of music. I think probably the best style of music that exists is pop.
Right.
For I was going to say for 2 reasons. I kind of think a second reason. The first reason is, I mean, it's popular. It means popular. Everybody listens to it, like, because it's popular. It's popular for a reason.
Yeah.
It's because it is mass appealing. It has like those elements. And then like, so that's firstly it's pop, but then it also has like elements of like Tame Impala. I'm not sure how many musicians you know. Daft Punk has like Daft Punky like things. As Tame Impala, who is the producer for Dua Lipa. You've heard of Dua Lipa?
I know who Dua Lipa is.
Dua Lipa, her new music is produced by Kevin Parker of Tame Impala. So it's like that sort of stuff. But then I don't know. It's kind of just like a mix of all of the music that I've listened to ever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's a way to like write music that isn't influenced by all the stuff that you've heard.
Yeah. Fair enough, man.
So that's the genre.
That's definitely painted the picture for me there.
It's like funk. It's got like rocky bits. It's got like poppy bits. It's got like dancey bits.
Yeah, it's just a mix of everything. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, it's because I did listen to it. I was like, it's like really catchy. I like it. It's really catchy. But then I was trying to like put it down to what I thought it was, and I couldn't put it down to what I thought it was.
Yeah, I think a lot of music that comes out, especially now, is a combination of like loads of different genres all in like different wee bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
okay. Well, you cleared that one up for me. So the second question is for your stuff like this is, why stoveheid?
This is I think this is a good question, because it's one that you might have even been there for the birth of the name stoveheid. So we worked in the same place, and this place does offer deliveries.
Right.
So one day I'm working a shift and we get a phone call. Somebody phones up and says, I didn't receive apple bags in my meal. And I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry about that. The two options we offer are you can get a refund or you can come down and pick up apple bags. And they, of course, were not happy with that. Can you imagine? So, so they said, "Oh, that's not good enough." Well, I was like, "I'm really sorry. These are the two options that we offer."
Yeah.
And then this woman started screaming down the phone, and not like screaming words,
Yeah.
screaming just sounds like ah, and I panicked and hung up. Well, as you would do. Like I'm in my place of work. I don't really want an earful of that. A couple of minutes later, the phone went again, and I answered, and they just screamed down the phone again. And I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. I hung up. I put it aside, forget about it, and then maybe half an hour later, a person who was in the queue walks away with her Apple bag, pulls at her phone, gets right up in my face, and goes, "Oh, laugh at my autistic child now," taking pictures of me, and I'm like, what is going on here? She leaves, and I'm like, turns out that was the person that was on the phone.
No.
You know, these two threads are tied together. These are not two random stories that are filled together. But I thought that was the end of the story. That was a reasonable end to the story. It wasn't reasonable, but it was an end to the story. A couple of days later, one of the other guys we work with sent me a message saying, "Oh, by the way, this woman has put your picture on Facebook." And he sent me screenshots of it, and it says, "Does anybody know the name of this stoveheid?" So, if you're watching, the name is stoveheid. So that's where it comes from. It comes from a complaint at work.
That's a great goal, that.
And luckily, you gave my full name when you first introduced me at this there. So don't at me.
She's coming for you.
She's coming for now. She has all of my information. Listen to my music though before you, because you know I need the stream.
Oh, that's quite funny. That's a good story. That's a good one.
You know, I was quite proud of it, if I'm honest. I don't know why I thought that'd be a good thing to release music under, but it's there now.
She set you up.
She did. Aye. Maybe she's owed credit for it.
Yeah, find her Facebook. Give her an email.
I don't know her name. Maybe I'll just give her another Scottish. I don't know.
Just miss her Apple bags again.
Miss her Apple bags. I'm sure she'll show up.
Oh. That's good. I like that. I like that there's a full backstory to it that all relates to your old workplace as well, of all things. And it's like the most classic fucking problem in that place ever as well.
Absolutely. Check out my new single. No salt in my fries, please.
Oh. So, moving from that, I have another question for you. So, obviously, you know what my setup like is for my podcast. You're now here, you're getting to be involved with. What's yours kind of setup like for your music creation? Have you got like a big setup? Is it just wee? Is it what are you working with?
Well, I have a room about this size. Most of it is taken up by a bed right now, but the rest is I bought. So all of the music gear that I have now, I bought in February of this year.
Right,
so
okay.
like the music creation side of it is quite young, but I bought an iMac. I bought like a proper big thing. Spent way too much money.
Yeah,
on it.
absolutely. Every time.
I have a microphone. I have a wee stand. I have a MIDI keyboard.
Yeah, I've got one of them as well.
Yeah. I have a guitar, bass, acoustic, electric guitar, bass, and acoustic, and that's kind of it. It's just like me in my wee room at a wee desk, just like working away, like 3 o'clock in the morning, going, "Why does this not sound good?" But it's pretty nice.
That's all you need though. You just need the minimum. That's all you really need to start as well. Like I'm sure when you move further forward, you'll end up growing. You're moving the things, and that's what happens. Once you start to see progress coming from it, then you start to actually adapt on what you have. You know what I mean?
What I'm going to be doing soon is replacing the bed with a sofa bed. So that means I can move it to the side, so I can like get like other musicians in, and like we can like collaborate a wee bit. Even set up a drum kit, because like both my brothers are drummers, and we're going to like do that, but I think we'll need some
Yeah.
permission from the neighbours. Like, here, by the way, don't need to do anything that involves quiet for a week,
Yeah.
so I can
Yeah, no, that's fair.
make a masterpiece.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem with music creation. It's a bit loud.
It can be. I mean,
No, it can be.
luckily, at least my setup is silent. It can be as
Yeah.
silent as I need it to be. Like I have like proper like monitors.
Mhm.
But most of the time I'm just plugged in on the
Yeah.
headphones. Sometimes you do need like the monitor sound, like if you're wanting to like mix it, see how it sounds like through a stereo or like.
Yeah.
But again, like the people that I live with are really understanding,
Yeah.
and they can tune it out quite easily. So yeah,
I suppose that works out in your favour then. In that case,
absolutely
gives you more opportunity to adapt and overcome.
Yeah, there's no hurdles like that. I'm sure they wouldn't appreciate it if I was like singing at the top of my lungs at 3 o'clock in the morning, but tough.
No, absolutely, absolutely. You've got a future and a journey ahead of you, so
exactly.
they'll have to see through. But yeah, so the other thing I was going to ask you was, what's kind of your plans for the future? What's your plans to move from this step here? Have you got plans in play, or are you just kind of going with the flow?
I think from a releasing music point of view, I really want to like stay as consistent as possible. I do have a huge backlog. Not a lot of it's finished, but I have a huge backlog, and ideally, I'd want to have an album come out, and with an album coming out, I'd want to have like an album party, like plus gig type thing. So
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing set in stone. There's nothing like booked or
Yeah.
anything like that. But that's the idea, and really just keep on releasing music. I think with anything, like the first version of something will maybe not accurately represent you like the best, and you like. I mean, I'm just not as good right now as I will be after releasing
Yeah.
however many songs. So the more I do it, the better I get. So I'll do it more and get better. See what happens.
I think a big change for people that do song and like music writing is when you do your first gig, you get that confidence to then maybe improve as well. Because that's what I've got. My pals have a band, the Neapolitans, and they started off a bit shaky, but now like they're getting to a point where they're getting big gigs and they're doing really pretty well. Like you might not, if you were to look at their social media and stuff like that, you'd be like, oh, they don't look like they're doing the best. But if you actually speak to them themselves, they get like a gig at least once a month now, and they're getting to a point where like they've been in Glasgow, they've been in Edinburgh, Sneaky Pete's, King Tut's. They've been to all those little like the littler, but the well known.
Like I mean, you just have to be in King Tut's and see all the people on the wall. You're like, oh my god, all of these people have played here.
Exactly. And I think that's where you gain that real confidence boost. So hopefully, wherever that first gig is you maybe get, are you always planning to just be by yourself when you do it?
I think the music that I've released just now and the music that I have, it necessitates other people.
Yeah.
Luckily, two of my brothers are extremely good musicians. Like both my brothers, I would be more than happy to have them in my band, like playing. I also have quite a few other friends that would be more than happy to play. But yeah, I mean, I think it would have to be with other people.
Yeah, I was thinking that it's because like I feel like as well with like a bigger group of people, your event kind of holding area will be different because like say you're by yourself. I see you've been able to even go to like a pub or something and play yourself. Like there's a bigger opportunity for like the smaller events by yourself. Whereas when you've got a bigger group, it's harder to do stuff like that. So you can have to try and push for like a bigger, more actual gig event sort of situation, if that makes sense.
I suppose so. I think there may be a wee bit more gravitas if you have like if you have 5 people, or like my band are coming to play, that more people will take notice of. You know, if it's just like a single person, like it may be, oh, I mean, this guy is just like, he's just going to play some like acoustic music or whatever. Like
Mm.
it can be bar stuff, but if you have like a group of people, but I don't know. I think the music would speak more for like speak to that
Yeah,
more than like how many people are in the
yeah,
band or
no,
whatever.
absolutely.
Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you came on at a pub and you had your pop, funk, punk, fucking whatever.
I like. How am I going to do that one? That is the question. I
I mean,
think.
if you'd done it, you'd be popular. It'd be
Yeah,
impressive to watch.
absolutely. But yeah, I think I don't have enough hands. I don't have enough hands to play all of the things at the same time.
Oh, it's always a thought for the future.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's lucky that you've got kind of a background of people that can help you there, and like you
Yeah.
don't need to go hunting for it. So you've got folk you kind of trust already as well.
Yeah.
That's always makes a difference because when I was speaking to like my pals like the Neapolitans, they were saying that it's the one key thing that's so important is having that bond. So
Mm.
like being like close as a group, because if you're not like that and you're having all these, you're kind of like bouncing off each other. You're not bouncing off each other. Sorry, it doesn't work as well, and
Yeah.
it doesn't sound as good. Whereas if you know each other, you bounce off each other, everything just works, and it sounds good.
Mhm.
And it's a lot easier to come up with ideas because they've never went to a gig and like they've done a couple covers, but they've always had their own songs. Whereas a lot of people nowadays, like younger groups especially, they go in and do covers,
Mm.
which I've not saw a lot of people just drop and go with their own music.
I think there's a good reason for doing covers, especially like for newer bands. Is
Mm.
if you show up to see a band and they play like 10 songs that you've never heard
Yeah.
before, it's like you don't
Yeah,
really
you
know how
don't.
to interact with that.
Yeah.
But if they play if they play like 7 songs that you've never heard before, and 3 of them, like the first song, the middle song, the last song, are cover songs, then you can get excited about that and then go, oh right, I understand like where they draw their influence, and you can enjoy that,
Yeah.
and you've got something else to sing along with.
Absolutely.
I think there's definitely function in
Yeah.
doing covers, as well as like learning. You know, like the way you learn an instrument is you learn what other people
Yeah.
have played. So I suppose it's a way of like learning how to be a band as well as learning how to play your individual part in that band.
Absolutely. And I get what you mean, to be fair, because like I could imagine if you went in, like you said, with 10 songs that nobody knows and no one can sing along with, you do kind of lose that interaction with the crowd, which makes sense.
Absolutely.
Unless you've got folk like us that are die-hard Neapolitan fans.
Constantly listening, yeah.
To be fair, like I'm a high listener for their music, and I've got a high regard for them because I'm proud of where they've came from, because like we've all came from a bad place at one point in our lives, you know what I mean? And at one point, I didn't think I was going to come out the other end. I did. And I think for everybody, we all took the same leap at the same time. So it's like, it was like stepping stones, and we saw every single person, or our peers, all developing at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's something so beautiful. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's great to be able to see somebody develop, as like whether it be a person or whether it be like the thing that they produce, a podcast or music. It's good to like have like the personal element to that as well as like the product. Yeah, and be able to see the journey.
It's weird. It's like I've saw me change, I've saw them change, I've saw you change, because this is new to me. Like from what I know from you from before, it's just work. So it's not like we had like a proper bond within what kind of you were producing or what you were doing. I didn't even have that much of a clue that you had done really music.
Yeah.
So it's like seeing you take that step out. Doesn't matter what age you are, you're still moving, and that's the important thing. Your journey is still to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're putting in the effort, and that's all you need to do. And you'll see you'll reap the rewards at some point. Yeah. Once you start to just really pick up the pace, it can be good. Oh. So I think we've really battered on about your music. We've really battered on about it. So have you got anything else you kind of want to add about your life? Anything else about that? Because if not, we can move on to the next section. It's completely up to you, because if there's anything else you want to batter on about.
I don't think so, honestly.
No? I feel like we did really touch down on most of the things we wanted to touch down on.
Well, what I will say is, I'll just give a couple of thanks. I've not like, I suppose I've formally thanked. One of the thank is to my brother, who played like Sean, who played on the song. Like if you scroll down, you'll see the credits. Sean plays as part of the credits. Big thanks to Sean who played on that, and Robin who made the artwork for my single. It was a huge clutch moment because I had the music ready for like a month, and I messaged so many people and nobody responded. I'm like, well, thank you very much. Luckily, Robin answered the call.
Well, I suppose that's lucky for you then.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're going to end up touching back down on Stoveheid again anyway, I think, because we're going into the Instagram rewind bit. I don't know if you saw this, but we're going to bring up your Instagram. There's not much on Stoveheid,
there's not much on Stoveheid right now.
But, I mean, you're going to then get a little bit of release music to go onto this, and we can talk about it again, because there's never enough talking about what you enjoy. Aye, so what I'll do is I'll fire this up onto the actual video, because I was wanting to give you a little review, like a little review time to then fire up there so folk could get a little taster for what it is. But because you've not, usually the Instagram rewind works like I'll bring it up and it's like a personal photo of someone, then they start battering on about like what happened in that photo, like how many memories it brings back. Whereas with this, it just gives you an opportunity to kind of folk to see what you have to offer. So like when you start to make more music, is it gonna all kind of be similar to this?
No, I have like quite a big variety of like stuff in the backlog.
Fair, because I think a lot of people would it would be maybe good for a lot of people to know these things, because obviously a lot of people nowadays like to go for their own genres. They don't really like to mix and match.
Yeah.
Which is fair, because everyone's got their own kind of thing. But
if talk about the artwork, so the where that comes from is one of the songs, and hopefully the album title is going to be Apache Heart, which sounds like two things. So it could be like Apache as in like an Indian, but like Apache Heart as in like a patchwork heart, like made of patchwork. So that's what the colours in the background are. So there's like the heart, which doesn't have any colour, but it's like patchwork. It's like made up of a lot of things. So it is going to be like loads of different genres, loads of different things. All my influences coming into the heart in the middle, which is me.
Yeah. That's good. Again, good story behind it. See, this is a thing. Like, see, if you've got structure behind what you're doing as well, it gives folk more of a reason to listen. You know what I mean? Whereas if you turn in and went, "Oh, it's just because I liked it," folk are gonna be like, "All right, it's not as interesting." But if you've got like that story where you're like, "Oh, it's because of all these different genres connecting to me, because I enjoy every single different genre," and it kind of then it's showing in the stuff that I produce. That to me, if I was to look at that, would be like, okay, what does that mean? And I asked you that. If you gave me that answer, I'd be like, okay, so this guy's actually he's got an interesting like story behind it. It's not just it's personal and it's got passion in it. That's what you need.
I think it's the same thing that I would say like with tattoos. Like people will get tattoos and they'll either have, oh, like this has deep meaning, this means this, or this means this, or I mean, I think just as it's like totally justifiable to go, I like this. I like the way this looks.
Absolutely.
Like, I think there's either two different types of people, or there's two different types of justification for each tattoo. But like that is what I went for with that. Like I commissioned that specifically to look this way. Luckily, the artist that I found done exactly that way. So I was like, oh my god, that's exactly what I was looking for.
Yeah, that's funny, because that kind of reminds me of when I was trying to get my COLD WANs emblem or logo, and I'm still not happy with it, I'm not gonna lie. Because in my head I kind of pictured this. I pictured like the two people sitting in like ice baths across from each other with like speech bubbles talking, and then obviously, to be fair, that the one that I've gotten now, some lassie from my school made for me, and I was really grateful for it, because obviously it was for my first episode. I had no clue where it was gonna go. And I think it might change further down the line, because we're going into, I think this is like episode 7 or something, so we've got 3 more episodes and we're into season 3, Cold Ones already, 30 episodes. It's like, how's that happening? But It is what it is. If you asked me in February last year, or at the beginning of this year, if this is where it was going to go, I would have told you no. But
Yeah.
it's just about being consistent
Yeah.
and persistent. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's where it'll get you.
That's key.
But yeah, I like the story behind it, and I wish I could find someone that could capture my head as well. Like I wish you could just take a photo and it would just be there.
Yeah.
Or if I had the skills to do it myself, that would also be good. But I'm not gonna learn. I'll find a way to get what I want to kind of have. Because I mean, once it all develops as well, like once you've got like a full place, like or a full idea set in stone, that's when it gets a lot easier for you. Because I mean, nothing's gonna be perfect at the beginning. You need to develop it.
Yeah.
And you will. And I'm happy that you've got something that like a trademark for your album already. That's good. And a lot of people will respect the fact that you've said or came out with that. Because like I say, it makes it a lot more interesting. Like if I was to look at that otherwise, I'd be like, it's cool artwork, but what does it mean? And you've just told me what it means.
Yeah.
And that gives it meaning, and that's what people are looking for. But yeah, it's that's really interesting, man. I'm happy we got a good conversation going about this because there's a lot to learn for me as well. Like I'm not obviously the biggest into music, and my genres go all over the place. Like so, hearing from someone that's actually got proper knowledge, prior knowledge, and is currently producing is good. It's good for me, and it's good for you to get onto something like this and just kind of talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like the confidence as well. Like a lot of people nowadays struggle with coming onto stuff like this and just talking. Whereas you've came on at the beginning, maybe in the cold bath, a bit shaky, as it would be, you know what I mean? But we're in here, we've had a good conversation, just bouncing back and forth, and it's been good. It's been good. But we'll finish the Instagram bit there because there's not too much more to talk about there. And the last thing that I will ask you on Cold Wans, and this is the same thing I ask every other person, is if you had one thing that you could tell every single person watching, motivational, maybe just a life lesson, something to help folk get across the road, could be a quote, could be anything, what would you say?
I would probably come back to something that was said earlier. It's like taking the first step is the most difficult thing, but it's probably the one that's worth the most. So even despite how hard it is, just take the first step, do it, just do it, because you'll not regret it.
Everyone's been loving the fucking Nike slogan lately.
Just do it. I'm not sponsored by Nike, but I'll try to think of, I don't know.
Now, to be fair, your first bit was it's in this season 3, folk have said just do it, but like you've came out with a different thing at the beginning. But every single person after they tell their little bit at the beginning end up going, yeah, just do it. And I'm just like, why is Nike not sponsoring me by now, man? I've given them 3 free fucking advertisement at this point, man. But no, that's a very key and confounding like word or like choice of words as well. Like, just do it is genuinely one of the most important things in life. If you don't just do it, you're never going to get anywhere. So you just need to do it. So even though 3 folk have said it this season, it's so right.
That's positive.
Exactly.
Like do the write that checklist and then put a wee tick in it. Just do it.
There's actually as well. There's nothing more valuable than ticking off things on that list as well. Yeah, I don't think until you do it, you don't really actually realize how good it is for you. It uplifts you because then you realize you're making the development you want to be making. Yeah. Whereas when you don't have it down on paper, sometimes you get lost. You forget what you've actually achieved. Whereas you should always hold on to what you've achieved because you may have just achieved that there, but there's still more achievements to come. And you know that, I know that, Paul knows that. So just keep going and just do it.
Absolutely, just do it.
Love it, man. Well, on that note, that'll probably be the end to Cold Wans. Yeah. And thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
You've been an absolute fucking pleasure, man. Absolute pleasure. And it's been nice to see you again after such a long time.
I think it's 3 years.
Yeah.
Actually.
It's been a long, long time, man. And we're all moving on and up in the world now.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
That's what it's all about, man. You need to just keep treading through the muck to get through the grass. But yeah. Also, every single link for Paul's stuff will be down below in the description. Go and give him love. Honestly, you'll want to see his development and his journey. It'll be good. And
a lot more to come.
Exactly.
A lot more to come.
A lot more genres as well. Yeah. Not just one, but 7, 8, 9, 10.
in the one song even.
Exactly. Something that you'll see, but not as much as, well, I didn't even know that genre existed, to be fair. The multi-genre. So yeah, give him love. Lots of love. He's been an absolute delight on this, and yeah. So anyway, guys, keep grinding on, and I'll see you again tomorrow.
Just do it.